Welcome back. The Bakersfield City Council will be putting the final touches on a 1-cent sales tax measure for the November 2018 general election ballot. Tomorrow, the money would be earmarked for things like public safety, fire, and fiscal stability and quality of life issues. Joining us in studio is Ward 2 Councilman Andrae Gonzales. Thanks for coming in.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
All right. First of all, let's just get right to it. Why now?
Well, you know, the city has grown tremendously over the past 17 years. Mm-hmm. Our population has grown by 56%. The land area has grown by 32%. We are maintaining more road miles than ever before, and so the needs are great. We know that for years the city of Bakersfield has really budgeted conservatively and has done more with less. Okay. But there comes a point where we begin doing less with less. And we know that crime is up in all areas, robberies, burglaries, assaults. I know that because I hear from it from my constituents all the time. Right. We know homelessness has become a big issue. So there comes a point where we need to decide what kind of community do we want to be in the future and how do we plan for that. And so when we look at all of the alternatives, this option is on the table. Let's talk about that. That's the 1-cent sales tax. And for people that are just kind of hearing about this now, think $20, it would be 20 cents in tax on every $20 that you spend, sort of a thing. There are some critics out there that were screaming marijuana. They're marijuana supporters. They believe very, very wholeheartedly that that is the overall solution. Why not that? And I know there's a whole, it's very intrinsic, there's a lot of problems in there, but why not that as opposed to this? Sure. So there are other communities who have taxed adult use marijuana, and they are still pursuing additional sales tax revenue in general. Other cities within the state. I look at Aurora, Colorado, which has a similar population as Bakersfield, and they're estimating, they're budgeting about $6 million in revenue from marijuana taxes. And so that is not nearly enough of what we need if we want to enhance city services to the point that I believe all of our constituents and all of the folks in our community want. And this 1-cent tax would bring in how much? Around $50 million a year. $50 million. And in the wording of the ballot measure that I was reading beforehand, it mentions things very specifically: fire, gangs, police, coverage, neighborhood watch. It also threw in unrestricted general fund use. A lot of people that would make them nervous. Can you just real quickly, I know we're running out of time, but describe what that means? Well, what that means is that these new dollars go into the general fund. It's not used for a specific use. If it was under California law, we would fall under a 2/3 threshold, meaning 2/3 of the voters would have to approve it. Because it's a general fund tax measure, it's a general purpose measure, it's a 50% plus one measure. And so we want to be transparent with the community that it's going into the general fund. Then how do you try and is there a way to ensure that, I should say, for the transparency, because people are going to say that's $50 million other dollars that they could send someplace else. Well, we have a city council that's elected every 4 years, and so all of us are held accountable by the voters. And so I'm here today with you and talking to the community that we want to add additional police officers, more firefighters, improve our parks, address the homeless situation, and I expect my constituents to hold me accountable. And so that is the real mechanism, accountability mechanism. But beyond that, we will have an oversight committee that will be prescribed in the ordinance that will be approved by the voters, that will also look at the new revenue and how it's spent, so that we ensure that it's going to what we're saying. So tomorrow night, real quickly, what will happen tomorrow night then? So tomorrow night, the City Council will vote on the specific sales tax measure or language. We'll also approve the ordinance, and then we'll move that to the November ballot. All right, and there will be a later date for people to comment? Or that has to be tomorrow night? Tomorrow night should be the time. Okay, very good. Andrae Gonzales, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you. All right, let's go to Elena Rusk right now and take a look at some other numbers, some very